Don't ever date a guy with kids if they're under 20 years old. I know, I said it and I mean it. At 50 plus years old, I can no longer date a man who has children under the age of 20. Now, I'm not saying don't date a man with kids. I'm not saying that. But if they are under the age of 20, they're going to come with a whole lot of, let's just say, hassle that a person like me, I've never been pregnant, I don't have children, that I don't want to deal with and I shouldn't have to deal with. Let's talk about it. Now, I'm not telling you what I think. I'm actually telling you what I know. I wanted to sit down and I have my little blanket and I was going to get comfortable and I was going to tell you this little story about how I've dated these men, but y'all, it's about to rain. So I'm going to try and sum this up. Why? Because I'm going to have a series of videos that will be discussing why a woman in her 50s should not date a man with children. Why a woman in her 50s who has never had children, who has never been pregnant, why she should not date a man with children under 20. I want to discuss some of the red flags. I want to discuss some of the do's and don'ts. And you know what, y'all? I can even share with y'all a script of some of the things you can say to them to get the most out of the conversation or to even get out of the doggone relationship altogether. But this is what I want to talk about. So I have all this stuff written down about what I want to talk about and how I want to present it to you all. But I just want to say right now, I stand on this. For me, dating a man with children and he's in his 50s and they're under 20 has done nothing but brought me drama. And drama may be dramatic, but it just hasn't fared well. Let's just talk about my ex. My ex had 4 children when I got with him. Well, he still has 4, but he had 4 children. But out of the 4, 1 was an adult. I think 2 of them had just graduated high school, or I think they just graduated high school and was about to enter college. And then 1 was still in elementary. She had not even gone to high school, so she was in elementary. There's always going to be a reason why that there is going to have to be a reconnection of the mother with the father. And again, you have to be very confident in yourself and know that, again, if a man wants to be with another woman, he's going to want to. So I wasn't jealous. I wasn't intimidated. It's just the mere fact that there's always going to be that facet that's going to come before you. And it ought to. Why? Because he has children. The second guy, or the next guy I dated right after my ex, he had 2 children, and 1 was an adult and she had her own 2 children in her own life. And the other one was a junior, I think, in high school. And he was paying like over $1,000 a month just for child support. And all he wanted to talk about and complain about was how much money he was spending simply on child support. As a person who's never had children, my thing is, if you have a child and you don't want to pay for that child, that to me is a red flag, even if you're complaining. And again, we'll go into more details about what went on in that relationship, but his biggest complaint was that, he was paying all this money for child support. And I'm sorry, let's go back to the ex. The ex basically did not have a relationship with the youngest. You let him tell it. It was her mother, and we'll leave it at that. Then the third guy I dated, he would be the most recent and the last. His son was in high school, and he was having a lot of issues. His son was. I don't know if it was because his mother and father were no longer together. I don't know if it was because, it was kind of, these bugs, y'all. I don't know if it was because, growing up, and his father talked a lot about how immature he was. And I found it interesting. And I'm not going to say just immaturity. He had a lot of, to me, negative things to say about his son. And it's not like he was not in the home. He might have been out of the relationship with his mother maybe a year. So it's not like they hadn't lived as a unit for many, many years. So I was always wondering, like, for him to have all of these negative things to say about, he's not mature, he's lazy, he doesn't want to work in school, he wants things handed to him, so on and so forth. And I'm like, but you lived in the same house, but you're acting as if you had no way of knowing, seeing, controlling, or even having a part in him growing into be the man that you thought he could be, should be, ought to be. And I just thought that was very odd that he put a lot of the ownership on his son not maturing and being who he thought he should be. So again, these are just some of the things that happened when I was in these relationships with these men with children, and how in the end it never fared well. And I'm going to talk to you in another video about these red flags. I'm even going to give you some green flags, some things that did, I saw that, oh, okay, well, maybe I could do this. Maybe this might work, So some of the green flags, some of the red flags, again, even some of the ways that we can have conversations to find out more information, and even have conversations to remove ourselves from the relationship. But again, I'm going to get out of here because the rain is really trying to drop on my eyeglasses, and I don't know how much of it's going to show. So this is Vita with Life Her Way. If you're interested in learning how, or in my opinion, wondering why a woman in her 50s should never date a man with children under 20, stay tuned. Join me on this journey of loving me more. And on top of it, if you're finding any of this remotely interesting, chat it up in the comment section. Consider subscribing, all right? I'll talk to you guys real soon. This is Vita with Life Her Way. Bye, y'all.